Hey, it's January 10th. This is episode 173. I'm still in New York. You got to love it here. Snowing. Tomorrow is supposed to be some sort of equa bomb where it's like I don't know whether they call it that or not, but it's one of the coldest days. It'll be like 19 degrees here tomorrow. I see we've got about 132 people watching the episode. Thank you for joining us. It is a little different format because we have a producer now. We're working on this. I'm sure that our producer, who's a very educated Hollywood producer, would much rather me be in studio. But unfortunately, because I had to be here, that's not the case. We got an exciting episode. We just had someone from the Federal Reserve resign. We're going to cover that real quickly. I got to say, we have a huge special guest, one of my favorite people in the world, and that is Chris Wu, the president of Ault Alliance, former president of Tenneho, former president, I believe, of Karl Marx. He was at JP Morgan, very talented. I know a lot of people who follow this love Chris. We're going to have Chris on. I believe we have Rip and Dip on too, Jordan, today. It's important, a couple things little housekeeping. Please check out my podcast. A lot of people joining us there. Really love it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to Instagram, go to Facebook, subscribe. That is always helpful. Obviously, we're trying to build a following as we get into our conference. I want to have Brett launch something exciting today about our conference. I think we're going to see a video on that. Brett, is it possible to throw up that video and then let everyone know about the conference? It's, I think, the first time I've ever seen the video.
All right, here it's going to be coming right now.
This is exciting. We're learning a little bit about it. Obviously, you can go to ToddAult.com and check it out. You can pre-register if you want to. If those of you who are interested in joining us, Charles Payne, there's going to be a lot of people there. A lot of people not on the list yet that we have not announced, but I think it's going to be a who's who of people who understand risk, like my man, Chris Wu. Chris Wu, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Todd.
Are you in New York or are you upstate, my friend?
I'm actually in New York. I delayed my drive a little bit, but no problem there.
Appreciate you joining us. Hey, Jordan, where are you, my friend? You upstate New York also?
Yes, I am. I'm near Albany, New York. Feeling the cold right now.
I think Chris is headed up that way, actually. Hey, before we get with Chris and Jordan, we're going to get a market update, and I will say, Jason, please, Jason, J Money, what in the hell is happening here?
What do you mean, man? I saw a 1.3 billion buy rip into the close on SPY on buy side imbalance. That was pretty bullish in my opinion. NASDAQ actually saved face and showed a little bit of green today. So it's not all bad. I mean, the Fed Vice Chair, Clarita, stepped down. I guess they made enough money insider trading. I don't know.
Ouch, dude. I was going to say the same thing. Not quite put it as diplomatically as you did. I don't know if insider trading was the claim, but I do think that she stepped down. Vice Chairman stepped down earlier over scrutiny of his trades. Sorry, I called him his, her. I mean, his trades during the pandemic. I think it goes to politicians trading on news, goes to government officials trading on news. Jason, I don't think you're a fan of that, right? I mean, Pelosi Capital, they seem to have like a great track record, right?
Pelosi Capital smashing those outside the money calls on big tech. I mean, it's just, I wish I could just follow Paul and Nancy's portfolio live. I mean, I'd be just printing like the Fed.
I love the fact that Pfizer said the Omicron vaccine would be ready in March. It's a new world order, as they say, a new world order that we a flu vaccine has turned into, I don't know. I don't know what to think of this, Jason. I'm living in New York. Everybody I know here has COVID, or at least I'm around people that have already had COVID. So I'm just a little tired of COVID. How about yourself, Jason?
I don't know. I'm a pure blood. I've never even had a PCR test. Whatever. I don't even care.
Jason, you want to cover the markets real quick?
Yeah, man. Let's look at the, and I'm sorry if I offended anybody because I didn't get the vaccine. My apologies. I like my immune system. The Dow Jones Industrial 36,067 minus 164. The NASDAQ 14,942, actually green, up 7 points. S&P 4670 minus 6. Bitcoin 41,822. We got a lot of corn to harvest there. We need to recapture 45 and then hopefully get back to 50,000. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. Ethereum 3,087. That gets you around 13-to-1 ratio. We talk about that a lot. Oil down 50 cents. Light sweet crude barrel $78.41. Gold recaptured 1,800 an ounce at $3.55. Silver 22.50 up 9 cents. Copper $4.36. The 2-year bond was up pretty big today. I did notice that. That about captures everything there from a macroeconomics data standpoint.
I guess they're pricing BitNile like it's not going to mine any Bitcoin, even though we've outlined for them what we're going to be mining. I don't quite get the pricing of BitNile, but I am, what do I know, man? Just been around 32 years at this. I don't have a commentary, but I did see the NASDAQ erased those losses for the day. Do you consider that a bullish reversal, or do you think it's too early to tell, Jason?
No, it's just short-term statistical noise. I mean, Goldman and all the big boys are hell-bent on pushing the Fed to raise rates 4 times. I don't see it. Lots of jawboning. I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, they're still buying bonds. They're still buying mortgage-backed securities. Slightly less, I guess. But let's see what happens in March when they're supposed to put their finger on the trigger.
Hey, stay tuned. We're going to cover Chris Wu's view on issuing fiat currency. Had a really great discussion with him about the Federal Reserve. We're going to cover that shortly. But first, Jordan, what's on your mind today?
Oh, lots going on in my mind. I actually, I took out all my money. I'm cash. I still hold all my naked, but everything else I had, I'm all cash right now. I'm willing to forego, 10, 15, 20, heck, even 30 to the upside in the rare case that we do see this continue. But I'm ready for something. I'm ready for some good opportunities in the future, whether it be, mid to late 2022 or 2023. So the majority of my net worth is just cash right now. So I made that move today, whether it be great buy opportunities on cryptocurrency or just, the indices in general, the ETFs that mirror the indices and all that stuff. So that's the big move I made today, to be honest with you. But, so I am holding all my naked still, but that's just a small, portion of my net worth in general. But that's really the big move that I made today. And my financial advisor kind of didn't fault me for it either. He said, I think I would do the same thing that you're doing right now if I was in your position. So.
Well, obviously that's not a recommendation from Risk-On or anyone associated with
it. Yeah. It's just what
Jordan's
I did.
Views.
Yeah.
Those are Jordan's views, but I'll tell you that I don't have the luxury of getting out of the assets I own because my largest holdings are Alzheimer's, Neuro, BitNile, and Alton Company, and I remain primary shareholders. And then I've never sold a share, not yet. Jason, what about you in the market? What are you doing today?
I was going to go down to my local coin shop today and buy some more kilo bars. I've been stacking a lot of silver and gold physical. I'm kind of running out of room in my safe next to all my AR-15s. I'm going to have to do something about that.
I picked up some silver too over the past month or so.
Hey, Naked Brains, $3.52, 0.233 reverse split valuation. Jordan, give me a little bit of your thoughts on Naked, if you don't mind, real quick.
Yeah, I'm a little perplexed, to be honest with you. I'm just perplexed. Our market cap isn't even $1 billion right now. You still don't have all the brokerages updated with their, outstanding shares, which is 261 and some odd million. So I'm a little perplexed. It's hard to just rope it into, all EV has been taking a hit, which they have. It's hard to rope it into that, but, I'm just a little perplexed. I'm just waiting for some sort of company valuation, which is fine. I understand, and I'm patient on this one. I'm not in a rush for this one. I don't necessarily enjoy seeing it go down, but at the same time, I mean, I'm crunching numbers here, and I'm seeing that right now it's got a $919 million market cap, and it's kind of similar to like the Nile situation where it's barely trading, at or above cash value. And that's kind of where I stand. I definitely see a bounce coming soon, somewhere into like the 530 range within the next week or so, in my opinion, and hopefully we can gain some traction. I do know that Mr. Wang is immediately after CES, he went to handle some business in California, so he's very active. I wouldn't release any good news, even if I had it in these market conditions, to be honest with you either. So it's just a reminder, not financial advice, but for everybody to just understand that, if you believe in the play, then you stay in the play. That's really what it is. I mean, if your risk tolerance is there, then that's where it is. But that's where I stand on it right now. I believe I will see extreme value out of this play in a mid to long term.
So covering a couple things, Kathy Woods obviously the ARK fund down 4% today. Earlier, about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, she said the market was being irrational. I kind of see that. HSBC downgrades Nike, citing China revenue decline. I saw a big downgrade in Airbnb, and I saw an upgrade in Viacom CBS. So I think the market's settling out for 2022. A lot of carry through from 20. This pandemic cycle is going to move over time, and I'm going to cover this. This is going to be a shortened show, guys, because I'm traveling, and we have a new producer, a lot going on, so I want to make sure I cover everything. We're gonna digress to a conversation I had last night with Chris Wu. Chris, I wanted to talk about the money printing and a really interesting statistic. I want to set you up properly. Jason, I think you'll be fascinated with this. Jordan, I think you will be too. I want to set you up properly for what we talked about in terms of the first 100 years of the Federal Reserve. I'm going to leave the floor to you to kind of go through that analysis. And I hope everyone pays close attention, because the brain on Chris is energetic. And if you just touch the screen, you'll get smarter. Chris?
All right, well, I'll try this, but I mean, what Todd and I talked about over dinner last night was that, the Federal Reserve was created over a century ago, and I've been doing some Fed watching to, get a perspective of where we are today, from a historical perspective. And so, what I've learned in listening to a lot of smart people out there that I rely on, folks like Michael Saylor, Nick Carter, a lot of very well-informed people. First 100 years of the Fed, $900 billion of our currency was created. And it took 100 years to do that. And obviously, that was the M2 money supply. Obviously, we had a seismic shift in the Fed's policy, which really began during Greenspan, where, asset price inflation was not a cause for raising rates. And that was obviously seen as, how we injected liquidity into the system in the 3 years following the Great Recession of 2008. And so in the 3 years following 2008 to 2012, approximately $3.5 trillion were created of money supply. And so at the end of 2013, we were looking at, an aggregate, $4.5 trillion on the Federal Reserve balance sheet. And where we stand today, believe it or not, is $9.5 trillion. And so what that means is in the pandemic, we've created another $4.5 trillion. And so in the last, call it 12 years, we have created effectively $8.5 trillion out of the $9.5 trillion of money supply, which obviously has a very significant, impact on prices and on inflation, and we've seen it. And the Fed has created new words to describe, what it hopes to be sort of a temporary, CPI inflation, and they've been using the term transitory, but I think they're going to lose that term because I think it's going to be more of a permanent loss of purchasing power. So that when I learned about that, that certainly gave me a lot of historical perspective, Todd.
Jason, I wanted to ask you, do you feel like it's transitory for you? Do you think that you're going to get that appreciation back in fiat and you're going to get all that loss of purchasing power back?
No, there's no way possible. I mean, I sent you a video of Venezuela. And they were having like 5 and 10K straps of fiat tossed along the side of the road. I mean, they can't even use that for fertilizer. It's just not possible.
Chris, when you talk about fiat currency and the creation of $8 trillion in the last 12 years, I think we had an interesting analogy of that sort of velocity of that capital. And so I think one of the things we talked about yesterday was, why is it though, with the creation of $9 trillion of capital, let's call it $8 trillion in the last 12 years, why is it that other countries have to print alongside of us? I thought you had a good analogy last night about, since we're the de facto, oil reserve currency, the fiat currency of the world, why is it that people have to continue to print alongside us?
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly what specifically, but effectively our Federal Reserve is the guardian of the world's reserve currency, which is probably, 40 to 50% of the, currencies held around the world. And therefore everybody else is sort of a sub-currency in relationship to US dollar reserve. US dollar treasuries are the so-called risk-free rate, and every other, sovereign credit trades at a premium to the US currency. So whenever debt is created, which is in the fiat world, how you mine fiat through the creation of debt, and therefore, if you think about it, each Federal Reserve each central bank of different currencies are sort of nodes, with the US central bank being the top node that everybody needs to take cues from. So if we print, everybody needs to stay pro rata in terms of their relationship to the US currency, and therefore they have to print pro rata at a minimum. And obviously what we've seen, as Jason noted, is certain countries cannot keep up. So they're issuing more than pro rata, and then you see runaway inflation in places like Venezuela and Turkey, and therefore when it gets to be that bad, citizens of those countries can no longer survive. And frankly, citizens of many of those countries, the middle class cannot earn a normal living anymore, and they therefore capitulate and stop working. So there's many ill effects of inflation, and we're just starting to pay attention to that in our country.
Hey, Jason, how many Bitcoin will ever be produced in your lifetime?
In my lifetime?
Yeah.
Not
How about
21.
ever? How many total Bitcoin can ever be produced in the world? Ever?
21 million.
Right. And how much fiat currency can the US government print?
Infinite.
Okay. All right. So there you go. You understand my thesis for us being long Bitcoin. We're mining Bitcoin. We're mining with ferocity. We're adding new miners all the time. Jordan, we're going to be wrapping up soon. And Chris, I greatly appreciate you being on the show. I know you had to increment your day to fit this in, but you know how much I think you're a big brain. And, obviously you went to fancier schools with fancier titles than I do, but I think you're a brilliant guy. And I thought last night's conversation was wonderful. I spent 2.5 hours with you. I would love our viewers to spend 2.5 hours with you. Speaking of spending 2.5 hours with us, Chris will be at the Risk On conference. He'll be speaking at the conference. Chris is a very talented restructuring guy. And if you guys have a business or something that you need to sell and we're interested, obviously, Chris would be the guy that would review it. So you guys want to meet Chris at the conference, you guys can check it out at ToddAult.com. Jordan, before we hang up, anything you want to cover on your mind before we hang up on any topic?
Oh, I just thought that was fascinating. Chris, thank you so much. And, as Jason mentioned, Bitcoin, there is a finite amount and there is an infinite amount of fiat currency. And I think I just applaud you so much, Todd, for your decisions. It takes guts to do that. And in one sense it doesn't, but it does to actually implement it into your business and focus on it. And I think that just long term, you're going to absolutely smoke it. So that's really all that's on my mind, other than, just the craziness that's going on in the markets right now with certain stocks. But I'll keep that off for a day when we focus on those topics. But kudos to you guys.
Hey, it takes guts or stupidity, right, Jason? Which one am I, guts or stupidity, or both?
No, it's guts. I mean, it's just like the El Salvadorian president who's building a Bitcoin city, utilizing the Conchuaga volcano for 42 megawatts to power that city. I know a few people that are going down there to help the president of El Salvador. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the week. They have another volcano that's going to provide 95 megawatts of clean geothermal energy. We'll talk about a little bit of that. And I just think that the silver, gold, Bitcoin sectors are what I'm going to focus on. I'm not recommending those to anyone else. And we'll see what happens. The debasement of the currency with fiat, it always fails. History will probably prove right again. The global reserve currency is the US dollar, the DXY. But in my opinion, I start to see that fall below 96 and down around 89. That's my call, around 89, leading up to the March trigger pull from Jay Powell, who speaks tomorrow, by the way. Jay Powell, make sure you follow your economic indicators. Jay Powell speaks tomorrow, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. There you go.
Let's see what happens with Bitcoin. 41,749. Did dip below 40,000 today to 39,651. Skyla, give us the joke of the day, because obviously Bitcoin, in my opinion, being down here, deserves a joke.
All right. What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs in a hot tub?
What?
Bob.
Oh, Jesus. Another dad joke. Hey, everybody, check out ToddAult.com and go to our my Instagram. Obviously, like and follow. That's important for us. Check out Jordan. We love Jordan at Rip and Dip. He's growing a following. I see every day people subscribing to his YouTube channel, kind of down-to-earth, East Coast guy. Likes what he likes, tells it like it is. Check out Jordan. Jason, any final thoughts before we check out?
One more thing. Brandon Brown from the Let's Go Brandon fame signed an 8-figure NASCAR sponsorship with the LGB coin. Can't advertise it on the car, allegedly. I'm not sure why that is. If everyone doesn't know, there's an NBC Sports reporter who, let's say, accidentally said, "Let's go Brandon," while interviewing Brandon Brown during a NASCAR race. And the crowd was allegedly saying, "Let's go Brandon." They weren't saying "Let's go Brandon." They were saying something else. But anyway, he signed a nice hearty deal. So shout out to Brandon Brown.
Yes, and rest in peace, Bob Saget.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that. Hey, Chris, safe travels up to upstate New York. Brett, I'm going to say goodbye now. Obviously, we have something exciting to roll. Let's roll that. Join us with Charles Payne, who's a keynote speaker. A lot of other people going to be there. I'm teasing a little bit because I don't know if there'll be a sailor there, but we're trying. Let's go. Brett? We're going to run a little promo, guys.